it's a tradition. Mm, Maestra Marta, we'd love for this to be a tradición for us to always come and be able to get this knowledge from you as an elder. You're so energized and young, and you know you've walked on earth for a long time too, and so that beautiful balance of your vibra, we're just so thankful that you're here with us, Maestra Marta. And yes, today we have our beautiful sister Olivia Chumacero, formerly with Teatro Campesino. And Olivia, I know her from translating for Rigoberta Manchu during her US visits. And so um, she has such a beautiful story. And so whenever we're ready, we're all trying to get ready to, to get to our responsibilities within the webinar. But I'd love to just get started and let's do it. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Okay.
¿Dónde
Olivia.
está Olivia?
Ajá, that's Olivia. Are you on, Olivia? Okay, so yeah, I haven't heard. Okay, let's give her a few minutes, but let's go ahead and get started. Si quieren empezamos en español, and then ¿qué hacemos para ti? Sí. Let me call.
Yes, we can do that. I know we have a few folks missing still, so we can also wait like one more minute.
Hola, are we ready to go? Oh, you are. We can see your glasses, but you don't show that we let you in. Sí, buenos días.
Thank you all for your patience. In the meantime, if you could use the chat to just share something something that has made you feel joy this weekend, just so that we can continue our conocimiento and relate with one another as we wait for the interpretation. Thank you. I see some folks sharing on the chat. Okay. We also are sharing a resource on the chat for those that want to flag it, including Maestra Marta's website. Okay.
Patty, would you let Olivia out of the room and then we'll have her come right back in? Because she's showing that she's outside.
Okay. So it shows that she's in, but I'm gonna let her out and see if she could come back in.
Okay, we'll let you out and then just come right back in with the link.
Okay.
I love the use of text. I love that.
Okay.
You come back in. Olivia?
It looks like she is back in.
Back in. Okay.
Olivia, can you say something? It will be in the English channel because it goes.
Okay.
Okay. Let me try this again. I'm just kidding. I can't remove her because she will not be able to rejoin the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Remove, so she has to leave it.
Hi. Does it show that you're in now? No? Oh, this is terrible. Ay, bueno. You know, we're about to get started. Let's just go ahead and cancel for the day, but please stay with.
Just want to uplift all the shares on the chat. People are sharing about family time and yummy food time and getting to work on the garden and watching soccer games, watching kiddos play soccer, being in community, and even just spending times with nephews in the kitchen. Great shares, everyone. Oh, Starbucks. I know. I wish I could relate, Vanessa. My partner did not grab me Starbucks this morning. I'm still trying to convince him. I'm like, I need coffee.
Yeah.
Buenos días.
Okay. Yes,
Maestra
Thomas?
Marta. Maestra Marta, looks like we won't be able to provide translation.
Okay.
The tech is not on our side. So if it's okay, we're just going to have to stay in with the English presentation. And again, we apologize to anyone that was really looking forward to listening to Maestra in Spanish. There is a difference, you know, como que el castellano está más florido, no sé, algo. But we'll have to do it in English. And we had such a good time yesterday, so we're going to be fine. And we're hoping Maestra Olivia will stay with us because she's just a jewel. We want to make sure you all meet her too. Gracias, and let's get started.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us again today, and we're going to continue with our session in working with these energies that guide us and protect us in our life. And I want to say a thanks again to the great energy of Tlazolteotl for this Topialisli. Topialisli means that which we must preserve. Our, pia, means to guard and protect, and lisli is like the verb of protecting what is ours. So Topialisli is a very important word for you to know and share, because it should be handed down from generation to generation. And so again, La Solteo is our regenerator, and she is one that provides this great strength to from childbirth to the whole span of our life until we die. So here is an image of her again, and you can see. Can you see my arrow? Oh, so this is the entrance of this energy. Just to review what was said before, as it comes into this process of regeneration, of transformation. And she has this dress that is both masculine and feminine. So she is giving childbirth. So she's shedding this yellow layer of old skin, and as the energy, the new energy comes in, it is processed, and then it is born and giving birth to another little image of herself, which means the continuity of this energy is with us. And to make a even stronger statement, she is holding on to, the little baby is holding on to Olin symbol, which is the meaning of movement and continuities, and in a rope. And this rope is something that connects us all. It's a connection of from the ancestors to the future. So that's the spirit of this workshop too, is for you to find meaning in these ancient symbols, and also use them and pass them down. So I thank you, and I'm so very glad to be with you. And Olivia, shout out to Olivia. It's so great to have you present. And we will continue. So Plasakamati, thank you very much for this beautiful day. So we're going to continue where we left off. But I want to introduce this word, this root of the word toka, which means, has three possible signs. One is I bury someone, is ni te toka. I name myself, ni no toka. I plant, ni tla toka. So you can see that how it all has an idea of being planted on earth. We are kind of a seed that we are planted on earth. And we have these wonderful goddesses, these ancient manuscripts, the Amoshli, to explain. And these are, here you can see, I bury someone, Nitlatoka, with all of the ofrendas, the offerings that were made when somebody would pass away. So this is much like the Day of the Dead, how we bring to the ofrenda, we bring enough food for them to be able to go through the 9 levels of Mictlan and then be able to return. So this is why it's very important to set a very hearty ofrenda for those ancestors who come. And there's many symbolism here. Of course, it's wrapped in a petate, and the petate is a woven mat that again has the ometeo sign, which is one goes into the other, and again, it is regenerating. And then here we have the naming. I name myself. So it's here, after 4 days of birth, the parents would take assign their day of birth, their information to the Tonalpohualli, to the person who was kind of the representative of Tlazolteotl, and that Tonalpohualli would give the child the name. In this case, it has a 10 rabbit. And so here is beautiful. And so we think of ourselves as being planted and we grow. And now to get to the interesting things. So we're gonna kind of decipher what they call the Tonalmachiot, the Aztec calendar, which is a very interesting set of, we can say, like symbols that represent different aspects of the energies. And if you can see that these are this center, it's been said that it's the sun, but I would conceive it more as if you're lying down on earth, it would be the earth, and how all of these circles, all these cycles around it are influencing it. So the first big one are these 4 symbols here, which are the 4 years, the 4 epochs. And they all have different elements. So the jaguar, this one, the Ocelot, is earth, and the wind is a Hecatl, and the fire is Tlaloc. Even though it's rain, it's really thunder and lightning. So it's fire, and Chalchitlicue, she is water. So these 4 elements, and remember the song, inocente, it means that these are our first ancestors, and these are the first elements that we have. We have our tierra es mi cuerpo, and the earth is my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. So we have all of those ancestors within us. And these are, when we begin to enter this ancient knowledge, we always have to give thanks to those first elements, because they give us, they nurture us, they give us strength. And sometimes we go too much to one side and we need the other side. So it is something that is always about balance in order to create. I remember that idea that we spoke yesterday about was that if you're just too much on one side, say you're very you're very sad, and you're very more towards, like, say, water, then you have to push yourself towards the fire. So you have to bring about stability and balance. And you begin to work with these elements within yourself once you acknowledge that they're there, and they have that power from the ancestors. So this is now these, and you see the second circle. The second circle, it provides us with these 20 signs that are very, it's a key to understand the rest of this energy that we have. And so we have here on this, next to this first symbol, we have Tecpatl. Over here we have Kali, we have Tochtli, and Acatl. So in the way that we read this, it goes this way. So it's Tochtli, Acatl, Tecpat, Kali. Tochtli, Acatl, Tecpat, Kali. And these are going to conform the first day, the first year of the Tlalpilis. The Tlalpilis are sets as we said before, of the 13 years. And within these 13 years, we have we have the first work that we're going to do. We're going to find our Tlalpili, and we're going to find our sign. So just remember that we move counterclockwise this way. And I wanted to switch over to these charts that I have here, because so you can see where they are, these symbols. So if we start here with Sipakli, and we go all around, we're going to find where these are. So the first one, this is Sipakli, and this one has the energy of the beginning. Sipakli is a crocodile, and you can see that this, I don't know if you want to make this expand this one, Master Pati, or can you see this one?
Yes, we've spotlighted you.
All right. And so Sipakli is what begins. So it's what begins, and it's a very powerful sign. And this is something that is for those who have a lot of energy to become leaders and begin things. Then we go to a Hecate. A Hecate we see is the wind. It's the communication, the Hecate, and this is what communicates. So this is the number 2. And then we have Kali. This is the first Tlalpili leader. Kali is a house, a little house, a house.
Maestra, oh, just one second. Can everyone see her slides? Because I can just see the calendar, the Tonalmachio. That's what I see. I can't see your slides. Maybe if you stop sharing screen.
So the way that you do this, y'all, it's by clicking the view option on the top right corner and go ahead and put side by side speaker. This will allow you to see both Maestra Marta spotlighted as well as her PowerPoint, her presentation. You can also toggle the screen so that it's more equal, like it's more 50% her video and her presentation.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you, Pati.
You're welcome. So again, click the view option on the top right. Click side by side speaker. And then in the screen, go ahead and move the divider between the PowerPoint and Maestra Marta. And you can move it to the left slightly so to make her screen bigger and her PowerPoint kind of equal in size. Please let Belen or I know if you have any tech support needs so that we can help you through it. And you can continue, Maestra.
Okay, so Kali is a very important symbol of protection. If you're in that category of that year, a sign or Tlalpili sign, it means that you want to protect whatever it is you're wanting to protect. Also, since it's building a house, you're a builder, and you're a builder. So you have this strength of protection and building. So I put here, lo que protege, what protects. So we're gonna set this one aside because this was gonna be one of our year bears. Then we have Quetzalcoatl as we go around the circle. It's lizard, lagartija, and the lizard you can see is also, the colors are very important, by the way. The colors, for example, when there's blue and red, that's again ometeot, and then the yellow is transformation. So it's transforming. The lizard, we know that if it loses its tail, it'll grow another one. And also the lizard is linked with the sexual act because they go up and down. And so everything that the ancient Tlacuilos would see, they would give it that category. So this recreation, procreation is something very important in the in this symbol. And so I put lo que resiste, what resists. And this is another sign. The next one is Goatl. It's the serpent. And you can see how the serpent is in everywhere in the codices, in the ancient, like the beautiful Teocalli that we can see. And this is a very important symbol because not only that it knows the way, because the way is the serpent doesn't go straight from one place to the other. It goes like ometeo. It goes like this way and that way. This way, and you can't see it, but it goes. But it advances. As I said, it was like the bicycle, you go one way, the other way, but you advance. So it knows the roads. And these, the Pochtecas, for example, those that would go out in ancient time to discover new commercial places, new marketplaces, new roads, they would bring together these staffs that were in the form of serpents. And on the day one serpent, they would go out and meet their destiny because they didn't know where they were going, but with that strength, they would go. So if you have this symbol in your Tonalpohualli chart, that means that you have this characteristics. And also the serpent is important because it sheds its skin. So that regeneration is something of a very important aspect of the serpent. So that's why it's everywhere. And also on its skin, it has these kind of diagrams. So it has metaphorically, it has kind of the codices on its skin. So it's a very important symbol. Then we have Mikisli, which is death. And Mikisli is what helps us rest because it is a moment of a pause, not just about the moment that we die, but it's also within each cycle of 20 signs. This is a moment to stop and reflect and think of what has happened and how you're going to process the next stage of your life or the next day or something happened. And so it's a moment of reflection. And it's also a moment of thanking the ancestors because all of the bones that are within our region or wherever they are there, and they nurture us and they give us strength. And this is why also in the Day of the Dead there's a lot of reference to the bones, and because they in different places they actually think that from the time of the wet season when everything grows to the time of the dry season, what nurtures these crops are the actual bones that are buried underneath. So for many people, it's the idea of that it's the end of something. But remember that there isn't an end per se. There is a moment of transformation, and so you transform. And Mikisli sign within these 20 days is that moment to reflect and think of the future and remember that this is transformation, always not the end of anything. Then we have Masatu, the deer. The deer is a very liberating, very strong symbol, and it needs a lot of freedom. It needs it can't be tied up. It has to be free. So if you have this symbol, you're a very free-spirited person who needs to have freedom, so that also you can free others or free, you know, the jungle or the animals, or this whole idea of being not domesticated is something that is very important for the Masatu, the beautiful deer. Then we have another year bear. This is again, remember we had Kali, now we have Tochli. And Tochli will be here in the second, in this place where we started with Kali. Now we have Tochli, the rabbit. The rabbit is someone, has the influence of someone who creates, one that and procreates a lot. So Tochli is a very important symbol of creativity, but also when it hops, it surprises us. It creates a way of defending itself by surprise. So it is something that is, for example, they say that, you know, when the eagle is about to go down and you see a rabbit, and so the rabbit senses that, and instead of going straight where it's going, it goes backwards. So by the time that the eagle gets down, the rabbit is already gone, and it'll take a while for the eagle to go up again. So it's a way of resisting. And also, well, rabbits reproduce themselves, as we all know, como conejos, like little rabbits. So it has to do with a lot of creativity in every aspect of creativity, not only of other human beings, but also of arts, you know, and of creating new movements, or creating everything that you can think about. Creativity is very important. And so this is Tochli, and it has to do with the self. I didn't mention that Kali was is the region of the feminine, so it's the region of the west, and this is the region of the south. So then we continue on around the circle, and then we're going to see that we have water. Water is next to the rabbit, and it's Ati. It's a tiny little word, Ati, and you can see how water is coming out of this of the earth, and it has a very powerful influence, and it not only cleans. You know, we think of water as someone is a symbol of cleaning or cleansing, but it also perseveres, because think of just a little drop of water falling on top of a stone, and over a period of years, and you know, years and years, it'll break it. So that means it's that tenacity these symbols will have on the person that is born in that sign. So it's a persevering nature. And we have this next one, which is Itzcuintli. Itzcuintli is right here next to water. And we have the dog. it's Squinkly is the dog, and it has several characteristics that we commonly say. It's the best friend, it's loyal, and it guides us because of that extra sense of that the dogs have, the intuition that you might have as a person with this energy that is very noble and wonderful characteristics, but also it's very protective. So it will very protect its master. So very it might be even aggressive in order to protect someone. So it's Squinkly. Then we have Osomatli. Osomatli is it's a monkey, and the monkey is very similar to human beings. So it's funny to see how when you see a monkey doing things like that human beings do, it makes us happy. So it has relations to performative arts also, because they imitate, they have the same kind of fingers, and they can imitate human beings, and also a happy energy that will cure anyone. When you're sad, the best thing to do is to think of something or do something that makes you happy, and that will cure you. So the Osomatli is the healing energy with happiness. So you see, we have a group that's called Osomatli, so a lot of performing. Malinali, as we go around, we have Malinali. And a Malinali is a very powerful symbol that is, you can see it's powerful because it has the jawbone of here, that from that jawbone, from death, life comes out. So we see herbs coming out, and Malinali means grass that is winding. So it's like it takes just a few days to spread. So your influence will spread immediately, from nothing to patches of green here, patches of green here. When it starts to rain, it starts the influence. So you have to have that idea that whatever you say will be spread immediately if you have this energy. So it also has to do with the herbs that heal. Most of the medicine comes from herbs, and we know that there's healers who create this medicine, and so it's about healing too. You're a healer. You might be a doctor. You might be curandera. And those two elements are what stand out about the Malinali. Then we have another deer bear, Akatu. Here we see in this arrow here is Akatu. So Akatu is a reed, and it has two reeds that are tied together. And so Akatu is a very important symbol connected with leadership. If leadership are the days of leadership, so it also illuminates. It creates light, and because it has to do with the east. The east is where the sun rises. So it's that moment of the day when everything is dark, and all of a sudden the first lights of the dawn come out, and you can imagine, you can see where you're at. You can see that there next to you there's a mountain, or next to you there's a tree, and that illumination is a symbol or the metaphor of understanding something. When you understand, so it has to do with that intellectual process. It has to do with that moment of discovering something. And if you are born with this energy, you can lead others. That's why I put y gobierna, and you can be a great leader for someone who is still in the dark. So Akatu is a very powerful symbol, and it guides Tlalpili. It guides another Tlalpili. Then we continue on, and we have Ocelot and Cuautli, which is the next one. They kind of like to see them together because this is again Ometeo. You have, this would be the feminine side, or the Ometsiwat, and this would be Ometeputli. One is powerful and is a warrior at night, so they can see and catch everything, trap at night. And this powerful Ocelot is it has the strength of as powerful as an eagle, only during the night, or the indirect approach. Say if you see a war, for example, the guerrillero, the guerrilla fighter, would be Ocelot, whereas the open out war would be the eagle. So you have an eagle, and you know, there's a whole realm of metaphors that we can apply to these symbols. And the eagle is, of course, can see the sun directly. It's the very beautiful and powerful moment of the day, and is always considered a very, very brave energy. So these are again little connections with the same essence of Ometeo. And then we continue on. We have the Coscacuautli is a vulture. The Coscacuautli energy is one of the ancients of being able to pause a little and reflect. And since the vulture, the characteristics of a vulture is that it eats dead meat, so it doesn't have the same competition for food that others do. So Coscacuautli lives to be 100 years old. It's a very wise because of its age, but also it's a very important aspect of Coscacuautli energy in your sign, that you recycle everything, because you're taking dead meat and making it generate life again. So this is Coscacuautli. And then we continue with Olin. Olin is another very frank symbol of Ometeo, because you have one this blue side, which would be the dark side, and the red side, which would be the light, say the day and the night. And then in the middle, you have this moment of the yellow that I was talking about in Tlalpili, is the transformation. So you can actually see it move, you can feel that movement, and it is going to turn into its opposite. It's going to turn into its opposite. So this transformation, it happens every day before our eyes, the day and the night. And in any other aspects of dualities that we can think about, life and death. In life and death, we were alive, and then the red, and then we grow old, and we pass. And then on the other side, we have a moment of death. So before we create again another life. So Olin is a very important symbol within your chart or your energy, because sometimes there are aspects that need some kind of change. we have a lot of stagnation sometimes in, you know, in groups and or politics or whatever, and it needs to be shaken and it needs to be moved. And so that's why we see all of these movements. This is the energy of revolution. So that's Olin. And then we have Pekpat. Pekpat again is the fourth Tlalpili leader. It's also very powerful. You can see just by looking at the image that it's very powerful. So you have this this symbol that on one side it's a flint, it's an obsidian knife, and on the one side you have red, which is the blood of our ancestors, and the other side is white. It's a reflection of these ancestors. So when I try to explain it, I give it the metaphor of truth, because this part, and you know, the obsidian is not red or white. The obsidian is dark. So if you think of it as probing into something, understanding it, like going and getting your PhD or something, and it's so difficult, and it's like blood, sweat, and tears. It's so difficult, but once you have that knowledge, once you have that experience, or in anything, you automatically become a teacher. You reflect. This reflection means that you have gone through this process of understanding this cuchillo de obsidiana, and this knife of obsidian, and to understand the truth. And then voila, you can teach, you know, this is light that's coming out of you. And that's why I give it the metaphor of truth, the one who can cut away all doubts and can criticize and change things with that aspect of speaking the truth. And you can see that the center of the Tonalpohualli, there's whether it's like the Gutli or the sun, I like to believe that it's the earth speaking the truth, because you see it, the spekbat sign that's coming out of the mouth. And so this is spekbat, and it has to do with the north. This is spekbat represents the north, the place of our ancestors where they dwell. So we have that, another year bearer. And then we have the last symbols, which are Yawitu. Yawitu is, if you have this energy, it's very, it's like the rain. Yawit means rain. But within us is our tears. And so Yawitu, the metaphor would be that this, and it's a little symbol of Tlaloc, the rain, you know, the powerful rain, and that you cry, and those tears of compassion make you a spiritual healer. So, and it's very one that makes things grow also. So this passionate need to help others, and could be within the physical curing or the spiritual curing. So it makes things grow. And this is the next to the last sign. And the last one is flower, Xochitl. And Xochitl is extremely beautiful, and it smells delicious. It's an amazing energy. However, it's very short-lived. The flower, when it's full bloom and giving out its beauty, it will wither quickly. So if we have a sign, it means that it needs a lot of apapacho. It needs a lot of, oh, how beautiful, if you're an artist, because we talk about art a lot with such or a performer or your whatever, it needs a lot of clapping and this because to keep on continuing with this this energy of the flower. And so I put that it synthesizes all of the other 19 days symbols into this one very beautiful moment of life. And so on the day of flower, it's so important to create something because you are synthesizing everything that you've lived in the 20 days into something beautiful. So this would be the last sign, and it's I know it's a lot, but it's so that you can understand where those four important Tlalpili leaders or the four symbols, Tochli, Acatl, Tecpat, and Cali, where they're at in this organization of energies.
Maestra, I think this is a good time for a small break. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Maestra Olivia is also ready, so she'll have to translate into Spanish because we started the room in English. So you'll continue in English and then we'll have her in the other room in Spanish.
Okay.
Okay, gracias. 5 minutos, everybody, 5 minutes. And then we'll come back. Thank you.
¿Cómo me cambio al canal de español?
Abajo. Belén dice that the creator wants us all together.
Yes, we do.
I love that. Okay, well, we can get started, Maestra Marta, cuando esté lista.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So we're going to continue our next phase, which is to find our Tlalpili sign and our year sign and number. And this will give us an idea of how this whole thing works. So I hope everybody's ready and that you have something to write with. I want to tell you that I will be taking some notes here too in this, where you see the hand. Does everybody see my hand here? I will be drawing things here in this part. But here I wanted to say what our process will be. So we'll look at, to find our energies in the Shukmalpili, we'll first look at the next chart with years. And don't be overwhelmed with all the information. We're going to go very slowly. The one important thing is that if you were born before March 6th, look for the previous year. So I'll repeat that. If you were born like in January, February, and first days of March, you look for the previous years, the previous year. Then we're going to write your Tlalpili sign. So Tlalpili, remember, is the group of 13 years and has one leader. And so it's Tochli, Acatl, Tecpat, or Cali. Those are the Tlalpilis, the four sets of 13 years. Then once you find it, you're going to write your year number and sign. We'll see in the charts which is the number and which is the sign, which will also be either Tochli, Acatl, Tecpat, or Cali. Sometimes you'll have double signs, and that's more powerful. And then we'll write the characteristics of the Tlalpili sign and of the number and year Xiwitl, which is called Xiwitl sign. So Tlalpili is a group of 13 years, and Xihuitl is that 1 year, one specific year that has a sign and a number. So, but we'll go on to the next slide and we'll see what I'm talking about. So here you can see there are these 4 Tlalpilis, Tochtli, Acatl, Tecpat, and Cali. Then we have the symbols. We have the symbols here. And very briefly, Tochtli is creative and unpredictable. The Acatl, the reed, is a guiding light for all. The Tecpatl, remember that powerful flint knife, is searches for truth. And the Kali is protector of the earth. These are kind of metaphors that you can change if you want. But basically, it's the energy that these 4 symbols have. So now if you go on to the little grid here that you see, find the date of your year, the year day that you were born. So if you see, for example, let's say the year that you were born in was 2000. So this is it. Or if you were born in 1988, this is it. So look for it. Take a minute to look for it. And I'm going to work with date I was giving. Yes, was there something? Are we okay?
Yes, we're okay.
So I'm going to work with this date, which is December 3, 1973. And so in 1973, I'm going to look for, and it's way on the bottom, 1973. So 1973 belongs to the Tlalpili Cali. First, the big section is Calpili Tlali. And then we go to the number that is next to it, and we have a 13. And also it's Cali, so it has 13 Cali. So this is the Tlalpili, the big box. This is the number, and this is the year, or Xihuitl. I don't know if you're able to see this.
Yeah, I could see.
Okay. So this is again the information that we need to have in order to find your year name. So again, it's what year you were born. You find your year. You look at the number next to it and the sign next to the number. How are we doing? Does everybody have that information?
put a thumbs up on verb.
So you will all have one of these four Tlalpili signs, whether it's Tochliacatl, Tecpat, or Cali. Look and see if your sign is in one of these blocks. And then once you find it, you go to the numbers. There's 1 to 13 in each block, and see which one it is. Just look over to the right. And then next to that number, you have another either Tochliacatl Tecpat sign, and then you write it down. Did everybody get it? So Kali would be, in this case, in this example, would be the Tlalpili, Kali. The Shiwut would be 13, Kali. And now what would be Maklakli Iwanye, Maklakli Iwanye, Kali. And remember, Kali means house. So it's house, 13 house. And the year sign, oh, this is the year sign, okay? So this is Kali. So this is the information that we need to make your name, to figure out your name. Okay, can we pass on? Does everybody have that information?
Maestra, disculpe que la interrumpa. Si yo nací en febrero de 71, me voy al 1970.
Exacto, se va al año anterior.
Ok, muy bien, gracias.
Porque los años comienzan en marzo. The years begin in March. How are we doing, everybody? Maestra Pati? Is there anybody having problems?
It doesn't seem like it.
Okay, I'm going to go to the next step. So in order for us to find that metaphor, I just want to review some of the characteristics that each of the signs, the symbols have. So the reed, the region is Tlahuizcampa. Tlahuizcampa is the east. The region of light, the color is red. And there's sometimes different variations of the colors, but pretty much red is something that we have, generally speaking, devoted to the east because it's the brightest color. It's the east is where the sun rises, and so that is the color. And there's other metaphors for the reed, acatl, leadership. It's firm and flexible, and it has an understanding of things. So these are all metaphors that you can include in your name. And so if you're in any, you feel attracted to any of these ideas, you can jot them down. Since I'm working with a Kali, I'm not going to write these down. And everything that I said about Acatl, the read, remember that it is, Kali is the east. I mean, Acatl is a wreath. And here's a reference to the image, carrizo. And I put lo que ilumina y gobierna, what illuminates and governs. And don't worry about the spelling. Sometimes it's spelled with a C, with a K, Acatl. Whatever you prefer. And if you're bilingual, you have Spanish too, you can also write in the words in Spanish. I put carrizo here, carrizo. Okay, so I'll go on to Cali. So here we have, I'm going to write these down because these is where I have Cali and I have Cali Cali. So I have a lot of opportunity. So it's house, which is the main symbol. It's a little house. It protects. It builds. It gives stability. It has strong principles. So all of these are things that I could include somehow in my name. And of course, it has the west, where the sun sets, and it's the feminine force, feminine forces. And here we have lots of feminine forces that we can, if you're aware of the creative forces such as Chalchitlique, the oceans, Tlazolteotl, Mictlantecuhtli, I mean, even though it's the north, but Coatlicue in the feminine side. Remember that we spoke that Coatlicue is both feminine and masculine, but in the feminine side, Coatlicue. And there's other forces. So when we talk about feminine, we're talking about that night also, the night before the dawn. So it has the color white. This is also a color that is pretty much given to the west. And everything that I said about Kali, if you have little notes, you can find metaphors. So remember, it's a lot about protection. Just look at it, the house, how it just seems to give you protection. And you can think about people that are very protective, how that embodies that symbol. And these are just some ideas. You can also find other metaphors that have to do with you. And at a certain point, you're going to find poetic versions of all of this. You don't have to say night. You can say the unknown, or you can say other characters, other metaphors that are more beautifully said. Okay, so that was west. Now we have Tecpatl. Tecpat is the region of the north, so it's Mictlampa. It's the region of rest and transformation. So it's not the end of something, it's like the rest before the beginning again. So it's very powerful, and it's you can see and remember the whole description that I said about how it's a two-pointed knife that carves into something, and then it begins sculpting it, and it begins with the other side, and then it reflects all of this knowledge. So Mictlampa, the region of rest and transformation, the color black, and that also is very accepted in most traditions, that the north is black. And then we have it as the obsidian knife. Other characteristics: investigates, it reflects, it speaks the truth. It's a teacher. As in all the other symbols, they are teachers too. Of course, the Acatl is a teacher too. But this one is, because it went through a whole process of discovering that truth, it just immediately shines, and Tecpatl is a very important, well, as all of them, but especially to speak the truth, and that is why it's placed in the tongue of the center of the central image of the Tonalmachiot. Some people say it's Tonatiuh, and some people say that it's Tlaltecutli. It's either the Lord of the sun, the light, or the earth, creative force. But in any case, you wonder why they would put a flint, this Tecpatl, in the tongue. And it's because it's saying, oh, I kind of like to see it lying down and looking at all of the influences. And it's like saying, wow, this is the truth about what is influencing us here on earth. So if you have this, take some of these notes and whatever you have, because that will help us find a name. Let's see the next one, Tochli. So Tochli is Huitzlampa, the region of the south. Huitzlampa. Huitzlampa means the region of thorns, because it's considered both metaphorically and physically a difficult place, and thorns are also connected with difficulty, so hardships. So in order to come and be successful in this region of thorns, is you have to have a lot of creative willpower. So the region of creative willpower, that's how I offered this translation for the energy of Huitzlampa. And it's the color is blue. So this is another pretty well accepted color in different traditions, the blue. So if you like blue, this is for the south. And so remember the Tochli, the rabbit, everything that we said about the rabbit, it's creative, it's unpredictable, and it's very passionate, in the sense that it is constantly reproducing itself, its energy, it's reproducing. And as the little bunny is very capable of surviving with these energies, very creative. So there's the south is connected with Huitzilopochtli. Huitzilopochtli is in some traditions, they say it's a god of war, but Huitzilopochtli is really the powerful symbol of that warrior spirit, and it's given to the South. And so it's all of these ideas that you can have, and you might have even more to find your name. So now I'm going to give you some characteristics within the numbers. So you see we have numbers. In my case, I have here for 13, for number 13, I will write 13 that says balanced and harmonious. And I'll just go through the 13 numbers as you find yours. So 1, it's a leader, intensifies traits of the sign. 2, objective and fair, complementary. 3, it's collaborative and creative, artistic. 4, it's analytical, studious, reflects between causes and effects, because there's two dualities there working together. Number 5, recycles the old into the new, regenerates and gives life. This is the number 5. If you have that, you're a regenerator, recycler. And you transform the old into the new. 6 is strong intuition, evaluates and meditates. It's also very passionate and very strong, connected with the needs to evaluate what is going on. And number 7, which is, I make it stand out because it's the center. That's the middle part of from 1 to 13. So this is where it has an energy of kind of a methodology. You focus on ways of technological ways of improving things. You transform, but totally it's the moment where you find a way of transferring this into a new way with a method. Number 8 is constantly experimenting and trying new things. Also very passionate, connected with Tlaloc, the creative force of fire, lightning, thunder. You shake your energy, you shake others into understanding, like illumination, by experimenting things that nobody has ever done. Number 9 is mystical and spiritually inclined. It's very, very connected with that feminine, mystical side of finding that spirituality. And number 10, it's a traditional and thought and action that you might look into the ancestors' ways. You're passionate about understanding how they thought and how they governed each other and how they created, and you'd like to apply, like what we're doing now. We're applying ancient teachings into something that will help us in this moment. And so the 11, 12, and 13 are the highest level. And when you see the organization of the 13 levels of the universe, you see that the 11, 12, and 13 are the highest ones. And so they're more giving. So the 11 wants to help others and also wants to serve others, to help other people to a better life, a better understanding of how things are. The 12 is much more than that, much more. Gives your life for a cause. Is every moment you're thinking about this cause that you want to fulfill, whether it's medicine or teaching or and the plants and the herbs. It's something that is beyond your normal will to do something. It's you are in a cause. You have a cause. And so once you get to the 13, the number 13 is so precious because you're a totally balanced and harmonious moment that is open to a new cycle again, to begin with that powerful number 1 that will generate a whole other set of 13. So this is very harmonious. 13 is one of great equilibrium and has nurtured itself with all of these 13 levels and now ready to give birth to another one. So find what your number is, and so you're going to begin to feel how the number will connect with the spirit of your sign. And now I just wanted to add this because, yes, do you want me to start to go back? Well, Tezcatlipoca work is
You can keep going, maestra.
okay, because it said as I was muted. Okay, should I continue or do you want me to go back? I mean, if I can go back.
No, we were listening to you. No, we were hearing you up to a minute ago. Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so the reason I include this Tezcatlipoca, which is the combination, the duality of Quetzalcoatl in this, the daylight. And Quetzalcoatl is, whereas its illumination, the light of the reed, the Tezcatlipoca would be the ancient memory, where this all comes from, our ancient memory. And in some places in the codices, they are linked, the signs are linked to special places. So you can see this smoking mirror. That's what Tezcatlipoca means. Su humear del espejo. It means the smoke of the mirror. And these are the mirrors. You can see all these little mirrors. It means it's look at yourself within the mirror and understand who you are, to understand who you are. Okay, so, and in this page of the Borgia Codex, you have an amazing gift that the Tlacuilos were those who painted in the ancient books, and there were women and men both. They put within what is this ancient smoking mirror, the ancient memory, where your sign would come, where your sign had its force, its strength. And since here we're only talking about these 4 signs, I want you to look at this, for example, here you have a reed in this side, and it says irradiates light, a clear perspective. So the sight is connected with the reed. Here we have the tochli. We have the rabbit is on the banner that that Tezcatlipoca is holding and is defending with its shield. And this pretty much is the banner. Smoky mirror searches wisdom in ancient memory, because it has a little smoking mirror, which means ancient memory. So rabbit, if you have that energy in your tlalpili or your sign, it means that you are defending that cause. You're defending that ancient wisdom. Kali has strong foundations. If you can see here, it's where Tezcatlipoca sits. Of course, this is the area is very precious because it's where we reproduce ourselves. Humanity reproduces itself here in the pelvic area that protects the sexual organs. So the Kali symbol is where you sit. So it represents a strong foundation, strong principles. So that's pretty much what we would interpret in that sense. And then we have there's a pectoral, like a symbol that is carrying, and it has the tekpat sign. So it's the truth about, that's his, Tezcatlipoca's mission is to speak the truth, because he has the ancient memory, the gift of the ancient memory. And you can see in all of these other places, we have all the 20-day signs, all the other signs, only we are concentrating on these 4 symbols. So again, you have the eye for the Acatl, the eye, to have a light and clear perspective. For Tochli, what you stand for, the ancient wisdom, is very important. For the Kali, it's a strong foundation, strong principles. And the Tekpat is that it speaks from the truth from the heart. So these are things that you can also add here. So I'll take my notes, and so I'm going to say in Tezcatlipoca, I am going to say strong foundations. And principles. And of course, you can write it any way that you have understood it, that you like. We'll continue on. Okay, now we're going to combine your Tlalpili sign with your year sign. And this is very simple. So we first are going to add the word sin. So sin means respected. We're trying to say this kind of metaphorical translation. And so we're going to put sin at the end, which we're going to say that it means respected. So here we're going to have this example. If you're Tlalpili Tochtli, you're going to add it to your year Kali. And what happens is you're going to lose the end, that end. And then instead of that Tli here and Kali, you're going to put them together. So you put Toch, Kal, and then Sin. And I've given it the literal translation of the respected house of rabbit. So that would be the name in this case. And a symbolic one, the respected protector of creativity, because I already used some of the metaphors linked to rabbit, creativity, of house, protector, the respected, we leave the respected. And if your sign and year are the same, then you can repeat it twice with other metaphors. So I'm going to do it with this year. And I have, so I start with my tlalpili. In this case, I have twice. So I have cal. So I'll do the steps, cali. And year, cali. $13 cali. You can also put in them 13, but it would be a longer maklatli one yay. So then we're going to take off the ending. In this case, it's the li, and we're going to put them together. Cal, cal, because it has two L's. And then we're going to add the tsin to make it a respected. So it would be calcalcin. This would be the name. And then we put in the metaphor. So, and this can be done whichever way you want. So we have the protector, for example, the protector. The respected protector of the earth. So I thought the respected. There I put the earth as my concept of home. And so I'll stop there and ask if you have any questions, if you need any support here so far. So first you put the lalpili and then you put the year. And then you put the respected.
Maestra, may I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
For ACAD, would I write ACA?
Yes. Acá, acatsin.
Okay, gracias.
Here's some, oops.
Ronnie, can I borrow scissors, please? Thank you.
So here's some of the examples. For example, tlalpili tochli en yerkali tolkal tochkalsin. Tlalpili acatl yer tecpatl acatepatsin. Tlalpili cali yer acatl calacatsin. Tlalpili tecpat yer tochli tecpat tochsin. And when they're repeated, it's the same, say, two tochlis, tochsin, acatsin, calcalsin, tecpatsin. And once you have that done, you can have fun creating your metaphoric, your symbolic name. So first place your Shiwita name, and then your, first you have in English or in Spanish, you would read from the right to the left. So it would be, in this case, the respected spark of truth. So we have the on earth, the respected part of truth on earth. So it'd be the spark would come on the right, and then to the left, the house. So the Tecpatl and the earth. Caltecpatzin. That's one example. Because the smaller one is of the larger one. So the year sign, the truth on earth, belongs to the spark. And then you would just say, Na Ninotoka, which means my name is Caltecpatzin, respected spark of truth on earth. The first one is your Tlalpili, and the second one would be your year sign. And you can also add more if you want to add the number. So how are we doing? You can ask. Okay. Maestra Pati, do we have any questions?
Let's see. Julissa is asking, how do you find the symbolic translation piece? How do you connect those dots, ¿verdad?
Well, it's, for example, let's say Akatu. What is Akatu? It's a reed, and it's strong, it's firm, it guides, but it also has to do with the dawn. So it could be the dawning of the protector. Let's say you bring together those meaningful metaphors that talk about who you are, about what you're doing, or if you're a teacher, or if you're something. So it's a matter of finding those two elements, and even if they're the same, Tekpat and Tekpat, you can find one element or one metaphor to talk about one big energy, and then another one, a smaller, which is the year energy, and you connect them in that form. So you take off the ending, and you put them together, those little pieces, and at the end you put sin, because you're a respected person. So so the metaphors can be anything that really gets to your heart, that really you say, oh yes, that's who I am, that's what I want. Because the name is your the energy that you walk through life with. So you want something to give you strength and give you power to confront all of the difficulties that we have every day. So it has a purpose. It's not just a cultural purpose to know, but it's to give you strength.
Zara has a question. Can we incorporate the 4 directions into our name, or just the Tlalpili and the we?
The 4 directions would be, what kind of a metaphor would you be looking for? Because right now we're like specifically trying to find your sign within the Tlalpili, your Tlalpili, and more specifically your year sign. And
Can you show where that is? Because somebody else doesn't know where to find the year. Can you point that spot out again?
Okay, I'll open the PowerPoint again. Can you see here? Am I sharing it with you? Not yet? Am I sharing it, Pati?
No, you're right now what we can see is the phone. And I can remove the spotlight. But aside from that, we don't see anything being shared.
Let's see. So how should I share it again? Forget.
Adriana just added a screenshot of the years on the chat.
Because I didn't see where I'm supposed to share it. Oh, it's on the Zoom.
So this is in your handout, y'all. We uploaded a handout on the chat that has the years with the with all of the signs as well. We'll upload again just for ease, but you can, this is exactly what guides you through the process as well.
So this is kind of specific for your year and your Tlalpili, how you connect them. Now in the metaphoric, I mean, it can be a long name. You could add more things to the metaphoric translation. This is just one that is very, I mean, it could be a whole paragraph if you want to add more information to it. But as we are trying to make this available, and if you're a teacher to others, the shortest way of finding your name is and saying your name is better. So Ninotoka Kaltekpatsin, the respected spark of truth on earth. It sounds beautiful, and it is short enough to learn it, to memorize it. And when you have, you're in in a ceremony and they ask you to give your name, how beautiful it is to say it in Nahuatl and then say your name. But you could put anything that you want in your name. In fact, you could have a long version of your name and add everything that relates to it and a short version.
What do you think of this name? Someone had double tekpat,
Mhm.
tekpatek, patsin.
Mhm. Powerful. Tekpatsin. So it'd be respected, and then you put in one metaphor for tekpatl, obsidian knife, or something like the truth, respected truth of. Another tekpatl metaphor, the truth of the flint. It could even be literally the truth of the flint. Or, anything that you think about, that energy of carving out and sculpting out the truth of something that is not clearly seen. So it's very flexible that you can put in anything that you want, insert in those spaces. Tekpatsin can be translated in many, many different ways.
Yeah.
From respected flint of the flint to all of the metaphors that you can combine.
Someone does have a question
Mhm.
around the number. What do
The
you mean
number.
the number associated with the tlalpili?
Mhm. So the number can be associated metaphorically. So you don't have to put it within the name itself. But it could be like, for example, se tekpatl. It would be like if you're a one tekpat se tekpatsin. Tekpat se tekpatsin. It would you could as you translate it, you could say the powerful leader of the truth. It's number one. So as you remember, if you have the ideas of the translations or the of the numbers, what they mean, the different characteristics of the numbers. But you can, like I say, you can add anything that you want into it. So the number, for example, 13 Matlatli Wanye Tekpatsin, which be a long name. Tekpa Matlatli Wan Tekpatsin, it would be a long name, but with the 13 is harmony. It's, it's this wonderful moment of transition from having completed a whole process and going into the next phase. So this, it doesn't matter how long it is, but you can always find those metaphors to express what you feel, what you like to be called, what you'd like to call yourself. And it gives you strength. It gives you a lot of strength in life.
Yeah. Let's see, we're looking at questions. Can your name shift over the span of your life?
Wow, that's a wonderful question. I think it can. It depends on how you translate it. Like say, you can always be changing, always changing. Or this, now this is just the, I want to say this is just the combination of four symbols and 13 numbers. But in another workshop, when we do the Tonalpohualli, that's a whole other combination of these 20 signs that are amazing. And so it's very creative what you can do with your name. You can write a whole page or a whole book about your name. And maybe, yes?
Maestra Patti, would you like to share your name? I know you wrote
that,
it.
that would be great if we could have our participants share their name.
So I wrote it as the tlapini is akat, and the shiwi is tu tekpa. So I wrote it as akat tekpaksin, the respected truth that radiates light.
Beautiful. Yeah, you do radiate light. Thank you for sharing.
We need volunteers who'd like to go next.
I would love to go, but I actually needed support in the creating the last part. My tlalpili is tochli, and my shiwi is tekpat. So I wrote it as tok tekpatsin. Toch
tekpatsin.
Toch tekpatsin. And I'm having a hard time creating, I guess, the metaphor.
So we have the respected. What do you like about the tekpatl?
The speaker of truth.
Okay, so the respected speaker of truth of, or that, for Tochli. What do you like about Tochli? The, creative, the fecundity, the rabbit itself.
I like the passionate aspect of them.
Right. So how would you include that?
The respected speaker of truth.
And with passion.
With passion.
The passionate truth.
Yeah, with passionate truth.
The order doesn't have to necessarily be in that sense, but
so it could be the respected, passionate speaker of truth.
Oh yeah, yes. Do you like it?
I love it. Thank you so much. I had a quick question. When I've had my Tonalpohualli created before, they were asking me about the day I was born and whether I was born before sunrise or after sunrise. And the name that they shared with me was Tekpasochil. And now with this name, it's different. It's Tosh Tekpatsin. I'm wondering, I'm also really like intrigued because I've learned my day sign for the Mayan calendar, and for the day sign for the Mayan calendar, I am a rabbit as well, a canil. So it feels like it's calling me. It's very aligned.
What's your question, Belen?
I'm wondering if you see a alignment or a reflection with working with all these different counts and calendars and ways.
Yes, I think that they do. They at a certain point they all connect. Now the the importance of the let's say the hour of birth is important too, and it could mean that, let's see, well, let me say that the Tochli begins, the day begins at sunset. Hakatl read it begins in the sunrise. No, I'm sorry. So Kali begins at midnight. Tekpatl begins in the afternoon, evening. Hakatl in noon, and Tochli at 6 a.m. So that's probably why you have a different day.
Okay. Armando, would you like to share yours, Armando? I know you had put it down in the chat. You wanted to double check it. That's Armando. I think maybe, no, yeah, he's here. Maybe we can unmute him. A ver, ¿quién más? Anybody who has a question? We do have your handouts, Maestra, so they're definitely in the link. But we also have the Tonalpohualli booklet, and that we want to make that available to all of you. So it's going to be
Great.
a Google Drive, ¿verdad? So that has all the explanations from the 20 days that Maestra shared with us. You didn't have to write it all out. And again, all of you will have this recording at your availability, ¿verdad? Adriana, would you like to share yours?
Sure. I'm still working on it. I usually take like the night or a couple of days to think metaphorically. But for now, na nino toca acá calzin. Right now, it's the respected protector or radiator of ideas.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Zara is saying that she's a little confused about her name because it's a double akat. Now, did we already answer that question, Zara?
Hola, Yali, a little bit, just because I think it was Adriana and I were chatting earlier about, would it be then, because you remove the T and the L, let it be like, let's see if I can pronounce it. Oh, we were doing, I have my notes, like, akatzin. I'm a little bit confused there with the double.
Akatzin.
Akatzin. And then with like the double meaning names, Maestra, like how do you recommend like guiding like with metaphors when things are like doubled down, I guess, and the same?
Well, I guess it's like the huge influence and the more specific influence. So, for example, the light, an akatu, the dawn, and maybe for the smaller one or more specific, something that have to do with teaching or guiding. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. I think that whatever feels right for you is right.
Oh, gracias, Ntato Kamati.
Thank you. Irma does have a question around incorporating, los dioses, the essence associated with the Tlalpili. Is that a way to also go with names?
Of course. It's very flexible, fluid. Again, it has to mean something for you. So you can add Tezcatlipoca or Quetzalcoatl or Coatlicue or whatever connects with in some way that energy of the year or the Tlalpili, I think is perfect. Like, what would you like to add?
Irma, do you want to add a little bit to that question? Or double check your name? Tochtotsin, she wrote down, Irma.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, since I have the double, I would like to incorporate the god Huitzilopochtli. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, as I've always had a connection to that energy, which I didn't even know was part of my tonali. But so I would definitely want to incorporate that, considering that I have the double Tochli.
So how would you translate it?
I have no idea. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Tochtotsin?
Well, I would, yeah, Tochli, and since it has a double Tochli.
Respected.
Well, the way I connect to the rabbit is through the creator of life. That's the way I see
Creator
the
of
rabbit.
life.
Yes.
Mhm. Well, that's perfect. The respected creator of life. That, how would you, another metaphor for Tochli? That.
The only thing I can connect is I guess as you are the creator, you also are the taker. In the way I connect to the energy and the earth and the rabbit, as you give, you can take, or you can transform it.
Right. Transform.
Yes.
And remember, it's like the South. It has to do with Huitzilopochtli.
Yes.
It has to do with the color blue. Well, it's nothing that you can just figure out in one instant right now. It's
Right.
just like there's so many variables that you can like braid them in and to create something that is powerful to you, especially.
Okay. That sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Very powerful. Beautiful. Maestra, can you speak a little bit about the responsibility it is to hold this beautiful sacred tool, the ethics behind este trabajo, ¿verdad? Would you speak a little bit about that?
Well, I think like as in anything, when you receive this guiding light of having a name, in a way, it's to be faithful to it and also to walk on earth with this understanding and be able to share it. Because as we say, one of the most important things of doing this work is to the topialisli, that we have to, we are meant to share it because we received it for some reason or other. And continue on persevering with this energy and understand it, apply it to your everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think we have time, Maestra, for one. Should we see you do it one more time from birthday over to the name, just so we see you, because it's the way that you do it and the way that you're brainstorming through it that allows some of us to really learn, because we do have time for one more.
We also have a question from Angelica. I don't know if it's been answered yet.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, everybody. It's been such a beautiful knowledge share, so thank you so much. And I'm at the house busy with my kiddo, so this is a great opportunity for me. Pero una pregunta. So I know from the beginning with the number charts, thank you, Doctora Patti, for putting that in the chat. Those born before March, you go a year back. So then that would, for me, would be 1987 Tekbat. And then the the equation you had, Doctor Maestra Marta, where you do the plus sign, that's where I got confused because that you do you're like it's a little math equation, right? So it would be I have tekpat, but then what do I plus it with? You had the kind of math equation. So I found the sign, right? I go back a year because I'm February 7 tekpat, and that's where I got stuck.
Okay, and so you're 7 tekpat?
Yes, because I would go back a year if I'm February 1981, right? Because you said go a year back if you're before, okay, before March 6th, right?
So 1981,
Yes.
and you would be Kali, 8 Kali,
Yeah, that's the original one, right? But
but
because
you go
it's
before. So it's tekpatl, 7 tekpatl,
okay.
and you belong to the Tochli Tlalpili. So it would be Tekpa Tochin.
Okay. So then that's the year, right? The four, the Dojli. Okay. Just double checking. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Wonderful. Are there any more questions, Pati?
Folks are asking questions around the birthday, like the month and day. And then there's folks that are asking questions around what happens if it lands exactly March 6th? Is it like before March 6th or March 6th and before should be the previous year,
Well,
etc.?
the reason is that it's when the Nemonteni signs come, the days, and usually, I mean, we could consider that it's already the next year because it's the 6th, or those days from this, let's say the 6th through the 12th or 11th. That's when there's one version of the beginning of the year. The reason is that it's not so specific is that there are several versions as to when the year begins. So, but at the end of the year, there's 5 days that are called Nemontemi. They're days that you typically have to just relax and meditate and not do anything for the next phase, the next year. So I would say that even the Nemontemi have, in the Tonalpohualli, they have days, but it's a very longer process to figure out the dates in the Tonalpohualli calendar, or in the Seshiwit where it starts. So I'm sorry, it's like confusing, but I would use the next year. If it's let's say you're March 12th, you would already begin the next year.
Pati, Amaya has a question.
Sí. Muchas gracias, muy interesante, maestra. Nomás una pregunta, ¿por qué son 20 Idwits, 20 días? ¿Por qué no 10? ¿Por qué no 15? ¿Por qué específicamente 20?
Los 20 días, o 20 signos más bien,
Ajá, sí.
son porque todo estaba en base, everything was aligned with our 10 fingers and 10 toes. Is the reason that we're all base 20 is because physically we have 10 fingers and 10 toes. 10 dedos y 10 dedos arriba y 10 dedos abajo. Y de allí pasa todo, de allí se crea todo el sistema calendario. Nosotros somos unidades. We are units of 20.
Ok, gracias.
I see Sammy's hand as well.
I just had a quick question. Is the number, the day we were born, like you had December 3rd, is that number part of the name too, or is that a different part of your, I guess, your birth chart, right?
No, that would be connected with the Tonalpohualli way of looking at the days. So that's another, this is the year signs, only the year. We're just talking about the year.
And I think that this is a really important part that we need to, there's this beautiful, mysterious university. And the university, we have one example of the university, which is the Tonalmachio, right? The Aztec calendar. It's just one example of this university. And so as exploring the overall concept of our birthday, this is just one tiny part of the story. And this year, I'm so excited that we got to really focus it down because, you know, we want to make it practical in our lives. We really want this to be part of your daily life, to be like, a ver qué día soy, you know, what to expect today. How am I going to respond today? So we really hope that this is something that you can assimilate into more of a practical sense, ¿verdad? Not just a ceremony in the naming.
And also, you're free to email me and ask me more questions. But Maestra, you can give our participants today my email.
I will do that. Thank you for that, Maestra.
Because there's just so much to learn. Even just in this, this phase of the year signs, there's each sign has a certain protector, and so you can go into that that image and work it. I wanted to if we have some time to draw something.
We have time.
Can't seem to get back on this.
To share a screen would be at the bottom of your screen, a green button.
Do I have to put Zoom back on, or what happens?
You're on Zoom. Oh, yeah. At the bottom of your screen, maybe, is there a Zoom icon? If you push the icon, then you'll be able to see.
Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, I couldn't see anything. So I was just saying that, for example, here in the Borbónico Códice, you can see these are all the Xuchmolpili calendars. And so you see, for example, let's say one house. Can't really see it because it's very tiny, but one house would be here. And if you're, say, if you're five house, you would have Istli here. And this is like Tekbat, it's the truth, that it's governing you and it's protecting you. So if you can look these, and all the codices are available online for free. You just look for Borbónico or Borgia, and so there's these a lot of information that you can find. But what I wanted to share with you, like if you see this, if we could work a little bit with, or if you have something to write with, say, there's this, oh, you can see it in my screen back here. Let's see, you can see it. I don't know how to make it larger, but to this one. So here you can see this symbol. It's an arrow, or it's a ray that is bound together. That means that it's counted for. So this is the image of a Tonalpohualli, someone who is writing in the manuscripts and saying that he's seeing when the sun rises in Xochicalco. So his headdress or her headdress is saying that his or her function is to account for this year or this date. So I just wanted to, maybe you have something to write with, to say, just make a ray like this, like an arrow. And we'll make a little tying around it. Like this. Whichever way you want to do this. Because this is in the codices. And it means the year. It's a year, like it has two strings to it. And then we could say that here is my tali. So you make your little symbol of your own, like a little house. Whichever way you want to do it. And so in this case, it's was 3, I believe. So say, for example, it's the year 3. And that's kind of a little glyph for you to have like an initial of your so all I did was to make an arrow. And then to tie it, because that's how they would say that it was accounted for. It's a year. Then you can like say, if you're a flint, you're a tekpatl. And what year number. So let's say you have number 4. And once you know what number you are, you'll know what your tlalpili is, because it has the number 4 position, the 4th position. And practice making your signs. The rabbit, it's his teeth. The more you do this, the more you will become familiar with your signs with rabbits. And if you look into the codices, you will find more and more explanations of the the colors and why are the colors. Akatu is a bunch, is depicted like a bunch of reeds. Sometimes it's 2 or sometimes it's 3 with a little feather, and then it has sometimes it's 1 or 2, and it's also tied together. It's a reed. Here, I'll go back to the symbols. Here's Stochli. That's one way of drawing. And then we have Tecpatl, which is very simple. Valley. Makati. Do Pati, do our participants have handouts with these images?
They don't, but they are asking for it.
Because
They
I could
would like that.
send you these via email or whatever,
Yes, that's perfect.
or you can take photographs here, snapshots of it, if you want. I'll just put them only the.
Well, Maestra, we have 15 minutes left, so we did want to leave a little bit of time for a closing palabra, so we can all just say something and share our last little, corazoncito with this new community, that we're part of, and you'll continue to get invitations to this continual training, with Maestra Marta as the years to come, and you will have the recordings. So as you registered, you did get the recordings from last year. As much as we say the theme was the same, you continue to learn more. Each time something different is shared, ¿verdad? So please take time to look at the videos also from last year. Con eso, yes, you're going to get copies of the symbols and also the actual booklet to the Tonalpohualli. So these symbols are explained by Maestra Marta in the booklet. And so you will get those copies. Thank you, Zara. She's saying thank you for the organizer. So let's go ahead and share palabra for today. And if it's okay, I can get it started. This is just a closing palabra. Más que todo, dar las gracias a sus antepasados, Maestra. Thank you. Thank you to your ancestors that have brought you to us, and that you have the most beautiful love for your community. And I'm just honored to host this, with my partner, Pati. And so thank you so much for joining us, Maestra. And I learned so much this time, as much as last time, pero cosas diferentes, and I know the brain can only absorb so much.
I know.
That's why I keep coming back, everyone. And con eso le paso la palabra a Sammy. Okay, sister.
For me, it was really good experience for me. I'm just very grateful and honored to be part of this. It confirmed a lot that I've been on this journey of finding myself and who I am, like decolonizing my own beliefs. And this is really helping me to confirm that my intuition and the trust that I have for myself, I need to continue and not allow others to detract me from it. Thank you.
This is Zara. I also want to say Taso Kamati, gracias. Thank you so much to Maestra and all the organizers and translators and hosts and everyone for showing up. I really appreciate Maestra, you setting the tone of this is information meant to be shared, not just with us. You share native ancestors from where these were originated, but also just I appreciate it because even people within our community, in my experience, have gatekept information as a way of power amongst even our own people. And I just appreciate you being with such an open heart, everyone here, including the organizers, not having judgment, being very patient with our repetitive questions and sharing documents over and over again. Thank you for the grace. Thank you for the love. And, Omateo, like, thank you for seeing our dualities and multitudes. I really appreciate it from someone who just, again, this has meant so much. And I hope to continue learning with all of you. And thank you for making this accessible in so many ways, from cost, language, safety, being online. I know this would be so much more different in person, but this is a much safer option, especially with COVID and also the outreach. I really appreciate it. So, paso tamati, Omateo.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Zara, I think you can pick someone if you'd like, or somebody would like to volunteer.
Yes, whoever would like to volunteer.
Yo, Patia Maya. Muchas gracias. He aprendido mucho para mi vida personal y para seguir explorando y encontrándome. Pero una pregunta que yo tengo es, si yo me interesa ser facilitadora de Shinashli, ¿qué tengo que hacer? ¿Tengo que hacer una certificación o a qué clases voy o qué podría hacer? Gracias.
Yo le mando la información por text. ¿Está bien? ¿Le puedo textear? Ok,
Sí, gracias.
Gracias por la pregunta.
I'll volunteer. That's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Angelica. I'll volunteer to go next, if that's all right. Thank you to Maestra Marta, the organizer, Doctora Patti, Sara. Again, just echoing what some of our fellow people in here have said. Thank you for your enseñanzas and your patience and sharing with the community. And I know that our ancestors are very happy and proud that we continue to share this information for all our generations. And it just makes me so happy and so proud that we get to reclaim who we are. I'm getting emotional because we've been so lost, not, I don't want to say lost, but there's been so many efforts for people to disconnect us, and they can't do that. And this is who we are. And we share with our families, our students, our extended communities. And I just feel really grateful. So I want to say thank you to everybody, and que les vaya muy bonito en su camino, en su vida, in your everyday life. That thank you for teaching us, and I know that you'll get all the blessings back. Maestra Marta, Sara, Doctora Patti, everybody on the call. I really have that prayer for all of us, that we uplift our communities and that we uplift ourselves, y especialmente las mujeres que are seen as too radical. A lot of times we take a lot of hits. So thank you for being in community like that. So I want to share that much. Have a beautiful day and hope to be in community with you all.
Thank you.
Hola, gracias. Muy agradecida por este nuevo aliento de vida en este día de IC. Vengo de la cosmovisión maya y qué lindo encontrarme con ustedes y espero seguir este aprendizaje. Lo agradezco mucho. Sibalashkamo.
I just want to say thank you so much for the knowledge, the patience that you have and just the beautiful way that you explained everything. I've been in a
Tonalpohualli class that I signed up that's going on its second month that I do every week. And I felt a little lost in there, but I think the concepts that you brought, it just kind of put everything together. So I have a better understanding now. So I'm so appreciative of that.
Fantastic.
And so, but thank you so much, because I too am on a journey of deconstruction and just trying to really find myself. And so I really appreciate the knowledge. And thank you so much, Sara and Dr. Patty, for the opportunity that you presented this platform for us to learn. Thank you.
Griselda, her mic is not working, but she says that she really appreciates all the knowledge that was shared with all of us today. And then I'll select Leslie, if you'd like to go next, Leslie.
Thank you.
Hola, buenos días to everyone. Just feeling really thankful to everybody here, the organizers, of course, tech support, and of course, Maestra Marta, thank you so much for your teachings and sharing with such a warm heart in this espacio, and I know in all the spaces that you're teaching. I'm really excited that we get to have your email address. I really want to connect with you more, if that's okay. Just hearing that you live in Cuernavaca and you go to that area a lot, and being in Mexico and visiting Tepoztlan and the Teposteco and hearing about the connection between the 4 pyramids in the area, and I feel like, oh my God, like this is the maestra who holds this knowledge. So I'm really thankful and excited. I'll be connecting with you. Tlazohcamati.
I can connect. Muchas gracias, Maestra Marta. It's just such you're such a godsend. I feel like you're a prayer come true. I'm so excited to know that you live in LA, because a lot of people were asking in the chat, where can we sit with you? Like, it was such an honor and such a beautiful experience to sit in this circle with you and to learn just the abundance of wisdom that you carry. I feel like you embody all of the directions so beautifully. You're a huge role model, and I look forward to in the future sitting with you in person and being able to share space with you in that way, and then also to share your knowledge. So many people that I know would appreciate you and just respect you so much in a good way. I'm also really excited to know that, like, to just be affirmed of how beautiful our connection and our web is. I know, like, one of my favorite parts this class was watching you comadrear with Olivia and knowing, like, I've only met Olivia once in my life, but, you know, she's a really good friend of my Maestra Raquel. And so just seeing, like, las maestras just, like, have that beautiful sisterhood just, like, heals so much in my own heart. So thank you just for being yourself and for being the beautiful human being that you are. And I will carry you in my heart always and be praying for you always, so that we can meet in good timing on this side of the world. Muchas gracias. Tlazohcamati.
Sí, muchas gracias, Maestra Marta. Muchas gracias a las personas y las manitas que están ayudando para estos entrenamientos. Yo fui con otro maestro y me rechazó porque dijo, no sabe ni su nombre. Entonces, cuando tenemos a maestros que nos dicen cosas así, en vez de ayudarnos, nos dan una patada, o sea, no nos, they don't uplift us. Y quiero darle gracias por todo, por the handouts, the recording. Yo soy neurospicy, necesito volver a escuchar las cosas, necesito verlas, necesito tocarlas, dibujarlas. Entonces me encantó mucho poder estar en este círculo con ustedes y aprender de ustedes. Muchas gracias de mi corazón a los de usted.
Maestra Olivia. Where'd she go? Maestra.
She just stepped out. It's her grandchild's birthday today.
Socorro, did you have a chance to go too?
I'll just share very quickly. I wasn't able, I'm looking forward to the recordings because I wasn't able to join yesterday, but I joined this morning and just want to say thank you to everyone. Hi, Bati. Thank you, Bati. Thank you, Maestra Marta. And also shout out to Belen for always sharing awesome things on her social media. And this is what brought me here. So thank you so much.
Yo estoy muy agradecida, me siento bien emocionada como algunas de nosotras y siento que el llamado de educarme porque mi familia se ha perdido bastante y me siento que por el momento soy la única que estoy tratando de educarme, de aprender. Y sí se siente un poquito sola, así es que sí agradezco muchísimo la comunidad. Y estoy tan agradecida, maestra. He aprendido bastante. A todas las organizadoras les agradezco este espacio y todos los presentes. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Alma. No estás sola.
¿Quién sigue? ¿Quién volunteer? Bueno, son las 12 de la tarde, California. I'm sorry if you didn't have a chance to share it. Please put it in the chat. We really love to hear from you. Again, you know, maestra, everybody wants an in-person gathering. So the minute you decide that you want to spend the day with maybe 20 of us, let us know and we'll help you organize something, you know, something easy for you. And yeah, just to have more time with you. And I'm so jealous of your students. Your 200.
My 220 students, they start this fall. Yeah.
Well, best of luck your semester. And
thank you.
Gracias y que tengan bonito día. Please know that we'll be sending, you know, we have things to send you from the handouts to the booklet, but please do fill out your post-evaluation. You know, tú sabes, all that helps us, especially with our fundraising, you know, to make sure that we have these events happen. Y con eso, maestra, last words.
Thank you for coming. Muchísimas gracias, Tlaxcamati Walniak. And it's an honor always, Sara, Pati, to be together with you in this mission that we have. We're very, very connected. We are one. Nobody is alone. Everybody is together. And yes, I would love to meet and get together around here in LA. Muchas gracias for organizing this.
We had a great time. Y, Doctora Patti, muchísimas gracias por su trabajo. Without your tech support, I would have panicked every which way.
Oh, thank you, everyone, for your patience. Gracias, Maestra Marta. You really, I heard everyone affirm this, but you really make it possible for us to remember that the medicina is within us and that we are worthy of it and that we can re-embrace, you know, some of these practices that we lost through colonization and migration and violence and all of that. And so, not to go too deep in the negative, but I do want to, just because I radiate light as my meaning, I want to make sure that you all walk away knowing that you are sacred, that, you know, we have sacred teachings, and you got to be part of this 2-day series where our sacredness was just reaffirmed, and you don't need to go to anyone outside of yourself to say that, to name you. What Maestra Marta started off with is that we get to replant ourselves. We get to reroot ourselves, and no one gets to say that you don't have a name, so you can't participate, right? So obviously, you know, when we talk about this work, there's elders that are doing this work and do naming ceremonies, and esa is very powerful medicina, and we have reverence to it. But this is one way that we can own the medicina within us. So I just wanted to leave it like that. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Gracias. Have a wonderful week.
Yeah.
You too, everyone.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Bye, everyone. I'm like, who's here?
Who's here? Oh, that was so beautiful. I love it.
Okay, so I'll have folks exit. Let's see. Okay.
We're still recording,
Yay.
Doctora Pati.
Yes, I'm gonna press stop.
Okay.